Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's show, the Beautifully Bruised and CPS show. And I am so glad that you have taken the time to tune in with us today. We definitely have a true treat that's in store for you. I have a great story that I do know that it's going to definitely touch and nug on your heart and just bring a reassurance that sometimes we need, right? Life be lifing, right? It doesn't stop. I just want to hopefully bring on some encouragement. I'm going to change it up a little bit today on how we normally do the show, and I just want to change the format. And I want to, just bring on more positivity to highlight some awesome, amazing mothers that's out here in these trenches and doing what they're supposed to be doing. And my grandmother always taught me and told me, "Give me my flowers where I can smell them." Okay, don't wait, until God called me home and let them roses be in the back of me going to my final resting place. I want to be able to smell them flowers myself. Okay, so give credit where credit is due. So without anything to be said with that, I always give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without him, I will not be in front of you today. And where would we be, honestly, if you think about all that you've been through in life, if God hadn't stepped in and made a way for you? So he deserves to be highly thanked for who he is and what he stands for in our lives. And also with that, I have Lindsay McPherson. Her story, guys, I do believe that be the reason why a lot of people tune into the show. Is her transparency, her truth, her life. What she is taken on, what she is doing, how she is not giving up, how she continue to have hope. And don't get me wrong, sometimes life does make us kind of step back and reevaluate and realize that, okay, sometimes you just have to be like, I need some encouragement. I need some help. I mean, we just really be honest. Sometimes the load gets heavy, but the beauty of that story is just know where there is a will, there is always a way. And that hopefully will give you the initiative to get back in the fight, to kind of, you might, like my grandmother would always tell me, you might give out, but don't never give up. And that is the difference. Okay. And I like to go ahead and thank Lindsay. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for being a guest on our show today.
Thank you for having me. You've been a light in my dark path.
You know what? It's been a pleasure. No, honestly, it have, because I always say too, I was once a victim to CPS, and dealing with that system years ago. I know how brutal it can be. I know how it can seem like a war zone. It can seem like you feel like, you go ahead, Lindsay. It's a different
it's
world.
definitely it's a battle, and it's a scary battle because they're out to bring you down as mothers who fight for your children. And it
Yes.
gets lonely at times because people, get tired of it or start to think the worst because it keeps going and going. And it's really funny that God just puts people in your path right at the exact right time that you need them. And I have met some warriors, some soldiers of this war that I don't think should be happening between children and their families.
Mhm.
But I've met some really great people, and you being one of them, you brought me
Oh,
out of a very dark place that I was in the past about 9 days. And for 3 days now, I've been back and I'm ready for battle again. And I couldn't
right.
do it without the Lord. And I know that the Lord put you in my path along with Jennifer, and I love her to pieces. She is
Jennifer's
a great
awesome.
woman.
She
Yes.
is. Oh my God. I've never seen someone would literally stretch herself thin to make sure she helped meet needs of her friends and others. So she is definitely a true soldier. Jennifer White have been a guest on the show in the past and have brought so many people into my life that she knew that they were going through things and maybe needed some encouragement. Because at the end of the day, we all have a story. And I've said this before, but by the grace and mercy of God, we have overcame. Just where you started at in the past does not mean that's where you're going to be the rest of your life. People can change for the better. And actually, Lindsay, I want to see, what do you think about this? Because it seems like to me, since I know that you're also a believer in God, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. With that being said, to me, sometimes God will use his strongest soldiers to take them through some of the biggest storms, to come out, to be that light, to be that testimony to others, to let them know that I am a witness, that God can bring you out, even though it looks too hard within your own strength, when you don't know what else to do. You've given all you have. You've been to all those services. You've been calling attorneys. You might have ran out of money. You might don't know what else to do, but what you do know is that you love your children without a
Yeah.
shadow of a doubt. Now, they might can take somebody away, your children away, or your assets, or things you think that you once had and they can't be returned. But guess what? I am praying that this show today will open up your eyes to tell you that God is still on the throne and there is nothing too hard that he cannot do. Okay, he cannot do. And like I said, I want to come on here to bring light today. We're in a dark world. Every time you turn around, I don't know about you, but Lindsay, when I turn on my news and radio, you're hearing about shootings and killings and school shootings. And just, God, is so much adversity and things that's going on in the land. And I just said today, since we are getting ready to approach Mother's Day, I would like to do like my grandmother used to tell me, give people their flowers while they can smell them. Acknowledge people. Give them, just give them credit for staying in the fight. It's so it's sometimes, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it's easier to give up than it is to keep going.
Oh, definitely. In the grand scheme of things, I guess it's not really easier, but at the moment they've got you so wound up, so bound that you just feel that's the only way. And I just want to be honest, when you said to me the words, I know how you feel, I've been there, and it will not continue. You really, I was like, you have, and you know, and it was such, and I hate that you went through it, and I hate that your child went through it. At the same time, the fact that you did go through it and you're sitting where you're sitting gave me the courage, the hope, and to get back up and say, Lord, you're right. You haven't shown your face all the way yet, and I know you got something up your sleeve, sir, because he is
He
good. He
always
is
does.
amazing. And I have felt the Lord has saved my child, my life before my oldest child, and
Yes.
I
Please
know
share
he's
it.
real.
Can you share
Okay.
just some of that? I think that is such a story many people need to hear about, need to be heard.
Yes. In 2004, my oldest daughter was 2 years old and she got diagnosed with cancer, kidneys, lungs, and lymph nodes. They didn't know how to treat it, so they put us on a helicopter and flew us to Dallas.
Mm.
We got to Children's Hospital. We weren't there 30 minutes. I'm scared to death. I'm a young mother. I was only 20 at that time. Now I'm
Wow.
40, by the way, and my baby's 1. But
And you still look
she,
good.
my
You do.
my oldest daughter was covered in tumors,
Mhm.
kidneys, both of them, right one, left one, lungs and lymph nodes. And the
Wow.
first doctor that came in said, "Well, we're going to give you about 18% chance for her to live about 3 months." And I said, "Oh, okay. Could you please leave?" I said, "Leave this room. Don't
Right.
come back." I
Mm-mm.
said,
You don't
"You
need
don't
that.
send anyone in here unless they believe in the Lord and Savior." And I meant that. And
That's
I went
right.
outside and I hit my knees in front of Children's Hospital and I
Mm.
cried, "Lord, why? And please, and can you give it to me? Can you take it from her?" And I
Right.
know it was God that put his arms under me and picked me up and held me up. And he said, "You turn around and go back in there and you stand next to your baby. She's going to be fine. It's going to
Mm.
be hard,
Yeah.
but she's not done yet." And
She's wow.
I went back in the hospital with a new sense of I could conquer the world, with my daughter. And the next doctor that came in, he was an angel. He had to have been an angel. He had 5 binders that had my daughter's name on it and said her road to recovery. And in that was a plan that we followed, and it saved her life.
Now
And I
that
know
is
it was God.
nobody but God, because the devil
Right.
wouldn't do it. Okay, so Lindsay, how old was your daughter at the time when the doctor said that, and how old is she now?
She was 2 and now she's 20. No,
Mm.
I'm sorry, she's 21. I'm so sorry. She would
Okay,
have she would
that's
have
all
me for that one. She's 21.
I just think it's just, oh my God, like what people try to speak over your life.
Yeah. And that
Don't
doctor, he looked at us, just as a number. He didn't look at it, my daughter, as a baby, a little baby, beautiful human that was sent here to be good, because she's good. She's all good.
right.
And I just knew that it wasn't the doctor that God wanted us to have. And I knew when I hit my knees that he was there and he picked me up.
Wow.
And
And it
she
just
is where she is today because of God.
fervent prayers and your faith in
Yes,
God. Yeah, yeah, that can unlock doors that man can't.
that I
I
didn't even know could be unlocked.
that part, that part. You know, it is the saying, a scripture saying that no man can close the door that God has opened.
Right.
Okay. So if God have already declared and decreed that thing, and like you said, even though the doctors, that might have been their determination or what they thought was going to be the end, God obviously did not see that fit. Okay.
No.
So and I'm so glad you shared that, Lindsay, because I always try to tell people, don't let no one speak death over your life. Always speak life. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it feels like. I don't care what it appears to be. And I'm telling you what I also tell myself is that at some of those lowest moments in life, and you just be like, God, I don't know. I don't know what else to do. But guess what? God does.
Yes.
God does. You might not can't figure it out, but while you trying to figure it out, God then already worked it out. So
He
we
already knows.
he
Yes.
already knows, and his ways are better than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and he can do the unthinkable. So we have to just, like I say, it's so easy. I've heard people say that, well, gosh, they said that I can never get my kid back, or truth be told, they actually doing my encounter with CPS years ago, they pretty much was like, well, they're looking at adopting your child out. And I'm like, huh?
That's where we're at in my situation right now. And someone petitioned the court for my child,
Mm.
and all they have against me is things that are not true, that I know they're not true, and you can't
Right.
prove a lie.
You can, oh,
So
Lindsay,
I'm
we
I'm
need
just
a
I'm
t-shirt.
holding on, and I know that my God is going to show up and show out and say, "Look, this
I
is
love
not going
that.
down like this."
You cannot, I listen, you need to, I want you to print some shirts up so I can purchase one.
A
That's
great
you
friend of
doing
mine told me that, and she was very, very on point when she said it. She says it to me often now, like, "Do you remember?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I remember. You're right."
wow, Lindsay, that's a good one. That's a true nugget, a true gem you dropped there. I mean, and that's it too. I think we've shared before that God works in mysterious ways. And I even think he has a sense of humor, honestly, at
I do.
times.
Yes.
I really do. Because I just, my God, I just think back to those moments of, with my experience with CPS was uncertainty, unpredictable, it's just like you just never know what to expect. It's like you have a blueprint of what they expect for you to do, right? What's
Right.
required of you, but yet and still they don't have one that they follow. It
And when
continues.
what they do follow is, or just pour into your life unexpectedly, is so unbelievable. You're like, no, this is not really what this is, but it is. It
Right,
is.
right,
And you just have to. And I don't think like that. I don't think. I always try to do the next right thing, and I always try to do people the way that I want to be done, and they
right.
don't do that.
No, they do not. They have their own set of ways of how they do things. And I really think that's so important. I thank God for Attorney Vince because he have created this platform for parents or caregivers or whomever that is dealing with CPS, that it gives you a place to vent. It gives you a place to share your stories, because the more your stories are brought to the forefront, the more people are aware, and it brings more attention to what is taking place. And I strongly recommend, if you don't have an attorney, to reach out to Attorney Vance, and their number is on the bottom of the screen. I I can assure you, the way that was able to get my child returned back home where he belonged is I had a very wise legal counsel. She knew, she was very aggressive even. She knew CPS laws. And Lindsay, so many people, sadly, the way that CPS enters in and manipulate, gaslight, or whatever the situation might be,
All of the above.
all of the above, right? And it's all
Mhm,
about knowledge. The word says, God, the Bible says people perish due to the lack of knowledge. And a
mhm.
lot of times, if you don't know your rights as a parent, they could easily be violated. Okay.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
this is not talked about. What happens to us, the fact that this show is real, I am so grateful. I didn't know it existed. I've been doing this for about 18 months and I just recently found out
Wow.
about it. And
Wow.
now that I know about it, I'm like, wow,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so much knowledge. Don't sign anything. I would say don't
Oh,
sign anything. Don't agree to anything. Just and get a knowledgeable attorney because
right.
this should be public knowledge for everyone. I don't know why it's not more talked about and why this just happens to so many people and nobody seems to be bothered because
I
it's
know.
not right.
I know. It's almost like it's almost like they want to keep it a secret.
Mhm.
Um, but do you think it might be because a lot of times things may not be being operated or done out of integrity?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But just you mothers, you wonderful, wonderful mothers who love your babies, don't give up. Just don't give up because you're doing an awesome job. Even if it doesn't feel like
You
it,
are.
every single day that you wake up and fight for your baby is the best day that you could give them.
It's one absolutely, Lindsay. That couldn't have been said any better. It's one step closer to your children being returned back to you. You
And
know,
your children will remember that their
oh,
mama was there fighting for them, and they will never forget that.
they will never forget that. And Lindsay, I'm also glad you said that because that's something that my child says, and he's much older now, but he says, Mama, thank you for getting me out.
He
Yes.
says that.
Yeah.
He's wonderful. You're wonderful. That's good. See, they don't forget and they know. They know that their mama is out there and they're not giving up because their mama's fighting for them.
The mama's fight, and with God's prayers, there is nothing that can't be
Nothing.
turned around for your good. Okay. What the enemy meant for evil, I assure you, I am a living testimony that God can turn what the devil meant for evil around for the good. My child been home years ago, and I am
Amen.
on this platform today. And like I did, Lindsay, believe it or not, God told me, don't get big headed because I brought you out of this vicious system. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. I brought you out to be a witness. Because if you read the Bible, I noticed in certain scriptures that God always seemed like He always let one person escape, one person
Yes.
survive, to be able to go back and tell his others, to tell the others about what God has done, or to warn.
Absolutely.
So I get it. It all makes sense now. So He sometimes will let, and again, I'm not going to say it's easy, with a
No.
cakewalk. Absolutely not. But you know what I can say, Lindsay? It actually brings forth your character, your strength that you didn't even know you had.
Exactly. It forges you in a fire that you didn't know you would make it through. And you come out with a whole different perspective and a whole different kind of love and a whole different kind of
Yes,
understanding and a whole
yes,
different kind of voice that you can say, look, you're gonna be fine. I promise. It's
you're going to be fine. I promise.
yeah.
Oh my God. If that is not the truth, I promise you, I don't know what is. I consider myself normally to be an introvert, right? And an
Right.
introvert, we don't really, you more to
Yes.
yourself. You do. I don't know if you are or not, because you've
I
always
am.
friendly to me and well spoken. Okay, well, we normally process better when we're alone. Not that we don't want to be around people, but we can get energy from replenishing our thoughts and processing and things like that. So, but it's amazing when God, when you go through stuff. I had no idea. I'm like you, Lindsay, that so many people was dealing with this,
I
and
had
it's
no idea.
I had no, and it's not just in Texas.
No.
These CPS cases is all over the world, even in Alaska,
Everywhere. Yes.
everywhere.
And
And
it's not fair and it's not right. And I I, I don't know.
No, you're right. It's not there. And that's why I think it's so important that our voices are being heard because, again, closed mouth won't get fed, right?
No, it sure won't. And I'm telling you, I may be an introvert, but when it comes to my children, you're going to hear me.
Loud
You're
and
going to
clear.
hear me. Yes.
That is so true. So that is a beautiful thing, though. I just want to acknowledge you today and all other parents. Jennifer White, we have Lindsay McPherson, a mother that's in the trenches, that's fighting for her beautiful Everly Rose. And I promise you guys, if y'all was to see this baby face, it is like an angel on earth. I promise you. I listen. I s- I hate to say this, but when you see and meet certain people and connect with them on a different level, you pick up on their energy and their spirit. You see why the devil is fighting them the way they are, the way
Right.
he is. You
You're
do.
right.
You seriously. I
And
mean,
I could see why the devil was messing with you because you're a bright light. And he didn't
yeah.
want you to be shining, but here you are shining away. And that's so much encouragement comes from just the fact that you have been there and you have made it out.
Oh God,
And
thank you.
Jennifer is such a bright light because she doesn't stop fighting for
Oh no,
anybody.
she's
If it's
okay.
not right, she's not okay with it. And she says,
Right.
I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you these resources and call these people and go here and do this and
Yeah.
do it right now and call me when you're done. And she was right about all of it.
Right. She knows. So she's been through it
She
too.
does.
And you
Yes.
know what? What better? Who better to be able to help you get through it yourself when other than someone that personally walked in your shoes?
I didn't listen to anybody else who was trying to tell me anything, honestly, because I was like, you have no idea what I'm feeling. But Jennifer did, and then she told me you, and she kept telling me your name, and I kept putting it off, and when I called you, it was like, huh, she knows, and she's still going, and she's smiling. She's gonna,
Yeah. Yeah.
you gave me so much encouragement. You do.
Oh, it's needed. When you're in these trenches, when you're dealing with CPS, I look at it as I look at it as I don't know if you've ever taken your daughter to the carnivals here. You're here in Texas. We both are in Texas, and we have the state fair here in Texas. And I've taken my son from time to time. Actually, we just went this past year, and it's one place that you go inside and it's like a funny house. You got
Yeah.
these mirrors that make you look different sizes. You walk up and bounce up and down. You might have a floor that literally opens up while you're
Yeah.
walking in that direction. And that really reminds me of CPS.
That's a great description because you never know, and you're just like, whoa.
Know what to touch, you don't know where to
Yeah.
walk, you don't know where to
No.
go. I mean, you don't know who's coming down the hall, who's behind you. It's like a revolving door of uncertainty. So
Oh, yeah.
and
And
yeah,
I just you it's so hard to be scrutinized on your parenting because you know you're a good mother. You know if your child wants to eat that or how to eat that, and they watch your every move. And
right.
I just have to think, Everly is worth anything
Oh
in
God,
this
yes.
world. And so I'll
Oh,
do whatever they want me to do as long as it's for the better.
right. As long as it's for the better. Absolutely correct. And what's for the better, I'm going to add to that, Lindsay, is for beautiful Everly Rose to be returned back home with her mother and her sister that is waiting for her back home where she belongs. That
Yes.
is what's for the better because you're not the mother who don't love her child, her children. And that's another mystery to me. From what I witnessed, Lindsay, from sitting in a lot of those court hearings and listening to other people share their stories, even watching the news, that you see a lot of these parents where they pretty much maybe have neglected their children. Children have lost their lives, and I'm thinking, where was CPS? Yeah, I'm not trying to be. I'm being honest, and let me say this because I have met in my own experience. There are some CPS counselors, some workers that really do have integrity. Thank God, that
And
really
a
want
heart and a soul.
that part.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I have
They're
two.
they do exist.
I've seen them too, and I'm grateful for them because I really do believe they're out there to protect children, not just to profit off of our children. And those people are few and far between. They're rare gems that we need to encourage to stay strong and fight for children out there, because a lot of children who are
Right.
suffering aren't being noticed. And
Yep.
that's so sad because they could go, you don't know how long or how deep the pain and
Mhm.
abuse is. And I just feel so bad for those babies because they're just as special as my baby and
Right.
deserve to be loved and taken well care of too. And I promise you, I would never do anything but what is good for my child and put her in nothing but the best any scenario of her
Right.
day, night. I just want to be there when she sees a butterfly for the first time, and
Yes.
explain to her,
What it is.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Bonding time with your
I just
baby.
want to teach her everything. I want to see her face as she learns, it's
Wow.
so humbling because my oldest, I had her when I was 19. My baby, I had her 20 years later when I was 39. It's a different kind of watching your baby grow because with my oldest, we grew together,
Right.
grew
Right.
up together. And with this baby, I just want to watch her grow.
Right. And you have a right to be able to watch your baby who you've given birth to, who you've carried all those months, 8, 9 months, whatever the case may be, back pains, crazy food cravings. I had to have pickles dumped in milk. I know that sounds so gross, but that's not you went through that labor pain, the epidural, or C-section, whatever it might be. People lose their lives from giving birth, so it is a big, big deal.
Yeah,
And not, and normally people don't go through that for nothing. Okay,
no,
so
they don't.
no, absolutely not. You're going through that to be able to live out baby Everly milestones, that butterfly, elementary school, going off to school by herself, and you probably don't
Yeah.
want to leave the
Oh,
room. The teacher tell you, okay, you can leave now.
Mama, don't hug me in front of them. I just
Right.
I
That part.
long for her everyday activities, just to watch her and see her and help her and show her and guide her and teach her the right ways, because
Yeah.
I know what right from wrong is. I know what good from bad is, and I know that she is good, and I only want her to know good.
Right.
I want her to
Absolutely.
understand bad because there's so much of it, and I just want her to steer clear of it. But I
Right.
don't think that the wrong place is with me. I really don't. I don't believe that at all.
Well, because it's not, Lindsay. It's not the wrong place. It's the right place. And that's the reason why the devil is fighting you like he is, to try to keep division from you having your baby. That's the devil's job, is to
Right.
kill, steal, and destroy. Destroy families that love each other. And with that being said, I would love for you to, so people can get a better glimpse. And anybody that's watching, whether you're watching the live taping, or I have people calling in that want to connect as well to the show, whether you're watching the live taping or you watch the rerun, please like, share, and subscribe. You never know what people are going through. Going through CPS is something that is life changing, and it's not for the better. It's an experience like no other. So you will be surprised how far encouraging words can give people hope.
Yes. Just hearing somebody else has been through it and have made it or are still trying
Right.
gives people encouragement to battle on, because it really takes a
Yes.
warrior to go through this and not, and even if you have crumbled and fell, get back up.
Get
Get
back.
back up, because it's not for no reason. It's gonna be for good, I feel. It's gonna be for good because my God is better than anything. And he, like I said, he's gonna show up and show out and pull something out of his sleeve that I didn't know was there either. And
Time. He shows
yeah,
up. God is faithful. And I want to, since you said that, I'm gonna piggyback on that, even Lindsay, because my case didn't turn around in the middle or in the beginning. It lingered. It was drawn out. And even when I received literature paperwork from my CPS caseworker, and it said, this is you preparing, or you're getting ready to come to the final hearing. There's so many different hearings that take place through the process of going through your CPS case. And I never
Mhm.
will forget, I was on cloud nine. I'm like, oh my Lord, it's finally a light at the end of this dark tunnel that I've been in for nearly a year, right? And open up the paperwork, and it stated that you're approaching your final hearing. They didn't have anything else to show. I did all the drug testing, came back clean. I did the parenting classes, and I'm like you. I have another child that's grown, so I've been through this process before, right? And they wanted me to take classes that very basic classes, to be honest,
Very basic, yeah.
very basic, and I'm wording that nicely. And but I did it, right? Because like you
Yeah,
said, you a mother that loves her children, you will go from here to Jerusalem to
yeah,
do
on
whatever
foot.
it takes. Listen, I'm so serious. You will
Yeah,
do whatever it takes to bring your babies back home out of that vicious, corrupt, broken system. And you are right. Those scars being placed in some of those facilities are, and any, I know people that work for CPS that have bashed and said they do know a lot of those places are not it's darkness, and they try to be the caseworker or the counselor or the supervisor to be the light in darkness to help these parents be reunified back with their children. Because I know someone, Lindsay, that was once sadly raised in foster care the majority of his elementary school years, his
mm,
middle school years, even his high school years. And when he got out, he was so I hate to say this, but it scarred him.
and
It
untrusting of of humans, really? You
Yeah,
How do you work through that? Because who do you have to trust?
correct. Your
It's
bond,
sad.
the connection you have been broken. You're
Yeah,
constantly moving around in these foster care homes. Like one foster mom says she keeps trash bags because her kids are coming in and out like a revolving door so many times. And how can a kid going through so many different what do you call it, unstable environments, right? How
right.
can they even know who they are, you
And
know?
feel wanted or worthy of anyone, that's the worst feeling, is not feeling wanted or loved by someone specific who is going to be there for you. That I understand that feeling, unfortunately, and it's
Right.
not anything that builds a solid, self-esteem on. And may I say something on that
Please.
note? You said the trash bags, she kept the trash bags. For
Mhm.
anybody who has extra luggage that they're going to donate, if they take it and drop it off at CPS, those children could have some kind of personal item that's theirs, maybe while moving in between, if you want to, I don't know, share that.
I'm glad you mentioned it. So you're saying that they will allow luggage to
Mhm.
help children doing transition, going to and fro different foster homes. That is anything that will help them to have some type
Mhm.
of being, you know,
Yeah,
uh, during these times, especially as kids and as teenagers, it's enough, even you in your own home, learning to kind of figure out who you are. Can you imagine
no,
if you really
I
think about that, honestly?
and so even if it's just, you never know, one day they might pick up a pink rolling piece of luggage and think, huh, that's mine. I know that's mine and that's going with me, because they don't have to go get a trash bag this time. That might just be small in the giant world of all this
But
craziness, but I think
mhm.
it's something.
Oh, no, it is something, especially when you have a choice between luggage and a trash bag. I would pick a piece of luggage all day, every day.
And then
And
just build that little bit of confidence to know
yes,
that's mine and it's going with me, then maybe other things, could
yeah,
possibly lead from that.
correct. It can try to build some type of consistency,
Mhm. And
you know.
self knowledge, just knowing that it's yours. Because
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to go through there and you don't know what's yours, if you can use that again, if you're allowed to touch that or take that. That's really
Right.
sad.
It is sad. It breaks my heart to just and to hear that. And when I watched her story, I do believe was a good foster parent. I do believe she was coming from a good place. But like she said, the way these children was entering in and out of her home at any given time. It might be 2 o'clock in the morning that kids.
Mhm.
You just never know. And a trash bag is normally the easiest thing that they could grab to be able to collect their belongings, because a lot of times they don't even have that. They're carrying things in their hands, and some things they're leaving behind because they can't grab it. I just have to say that I think if people would I don't have you ever seen the show? I think it's called it's like a secret boss where I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name of the
Like a
show.
mystery shopper type thing?
Yeah, like a mystery shopper. And sometimes the boss will come in, the owner of the company will come in as
Disguise,
a new
yes.
employee. What is it called?
No,
Lindsay?
I don't know what it's called, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, good. With that being said, and I'm sorry, it hadn't crossed my mind neither, but I watched the show quite a few times. And it's just amazing when the owner had all these set of rules and had all these, regimens that must be met, must be in place, and very infringed on these type of rules. It was amazing to see someone from the top, the owner, the CEOs of these companies, once they came in disguised as a new employee, once they saw what it's like going through the job, because it's like I say, it's totally different unless you in those shoes, you're doing it yourself. You can talk to your
Absolutely.
face turn blue, but when you're literally in the trenches yourself and you're doing the work yourself, you're going to have a whole new set of eyes, whether you want to or not.
Whole different perspective, yes.
Oh my God. Oh, yes. That part, a whole new, totally different perspective, Lindsay. And I
Mm,
just want to tell you, and you saw it at the end, with some of those owners of those companies and the CEOs, they literally was like, I had no idea that
yeah.
it was like this, that my workers had to endure so much, that,
Stress, just extra stress or
oh yeah,
unnecessary,
that's not
you
even
know,
side.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so much so where at the end they realized that and some of the employees, they were new, they could have easily broke from the
Mhm,
demands, the requests, all the things they were putting them through. But the ones that they didn't flinch, the ones that said, yes, this is my job, this is what they require of me, this is what I have to do, but I do it. And the
mhm,
owners, they seen that they were willing to do the work, stand, go through the test. Did you see how at the end they offered those employees a check of some thousands of dollars, like
yes,
grants and scholarships, because they had to reevaluate themselves. Some of them went back and re-implemented new ways for their employees on how they can change things for the better. And I say that
mhm,
to say this: I think if CPS workers, I think of the ones who implement these rules and laws that CPS are following, if they was to go through some of these places that these children are in, if they have to live out of trash bags like our children have to be forced to live out of, having to
mhm,
live in and out of different foster homes. I can also attest that the person I know that lived in foster home that's now a grown individual, he was not even allowed to sleep in the foster beds. He can only sleep under the beds. And I have shared this before. Oh, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. He could not sleep on the bed. He could only sleep
mm,
under the bed. Okay. A lot of times the kids are not able to eat certain foods that they might be
right,
accustomed to with their families, right? With their parents. So you will be surprised. Everything literally changes in the drop of a dime. You're going from knowing life one way to all of a sudden being thrust into like a foreign country, a foreign land that's
and not understanding why.
understanding why. So I honestly, again, I truly think if they were to allow whomever that is I don't care if you're a CPS caseworker, social worker, if you're the
Level
person,
5 executive officer, it anyone.
level 5 executive officer, if you were to take just to see as a test even, Let them go and live how these children are forced to live.
Mhm.
See if what they think after they can't sleep in their bed, they can only sleep under the bed. That
Mm.
they can't go outside at certain times. They can't eat certain foods at certain times. So
They
they
have
can
to
only
wait for everyone else to eat before they can eat what's left over. It's really there's really some really strange,
very
horrible
strange
things.
activity. Strange
Mhm.
activity. And with that, Lindsay, let's see. Do you honestly think? I want to know honestly, would they still come out and not have the same tune with allowing these type of establishments to continue to go on, or better yet, let your children go and stay?
I would hope they wouldn't, but with it seems like a whole different type of person to be in the position that they're in.
Oh yeah,
And
oh
I
yeah,
don't know if they are well-trained professionals or if they come like that or if it's just something that's happened over time from seeing it happen. I don't know. I honestly can't I don't think like that. I don't wanna think like that. I wanna be positive and think of the good things and try to help people do better, not hurt
right,
anyone, but
right.
I don't
I
think that I don't think they would change much if they're getting because what they're getting from our children is money, and money is the root of all evil.
It
And
is.
these people love money. I would give up every dollar in this whole world just to hold my baby and let her see a butterfly for the first time. I would.
Correct. And I know you would. I have spoken with you. I have connected with you, and I have pretty good discernment regarding what's what and who's who. Thank God. So I can just assure you, Lindsay. A lot of times, again, I see this as a spiritual fight. It is normally the moms, the best moms. Like I'm celebrating the mothers today on this show, giving them their flowers, letting them know thank you for not giving up on your children, even though you're going through hell and high water. And it's probably more CPS is pressuring you in ways and areas that you didn't even think you could be pressured. But by you still getting up every single day, putting one foot in front of the other, no matter how hard it gets, you're still showing up. You're still going to your meeting your children. You're still bringing in those favorite toys and gifts. You're still giving your babies those warm hugs. They could still look you in your eyes and showing that I'm available.
Feel
I'm
your
here
heartbeat.
with you. They can feel your heartbeat. You're showing love. I've always been told love is an action.
Yes. It is. It's a lot of actions, but yes. Yes.
It
And
is.
for you moms out there, like she said, it's under pressure. It's because you're diamonds. You're diamonds. You know what's made under pressure is diamonds. And don't give up
It is.
because you're
That's
gonna
right.
be you're gonna be out there just shining so bright, holding your babies and going, huh. I feel like a
Right.
lot of us are really gonna overcome and
You are going to overcome.
evil
You
doesn't
are.
win.
It never wins. It might get
No.
away temporarily,
On this earth, maybe.
on this earth, but trust me, there will come a time, and this is Bible, where both your feet will slip and your
Yep.
demise will come. That's Bible. It can only last for so long, but there is a time. There is a time when your time will be up. And with that, Lindsay, that's what I used to tell my attorney. When I got that letter in the mailbox, like saying that our times was up, and I reached out to my caseworker and I said, okay, well, our time is up, and she extended it out even
Yeah, I
longer.
got an extension also. Yes, I
See?
understand.
See? And I reached out to my caseworker. I don't know. I want to hear what your response was, but I asked her what changed.
Oh, let me tell you, it was right before Christmas. I was supposed to get Everly by myself, unsupervised for the holiday break. The
Mhm.
first time I met this caseworker that I have now, she walked into my home. First time I met her, she looked around, she said, "Wow, this is really nice. Where's her room?" And she went in there and she just said, "Wow." And I just stood back and let her go wherever she wanted to go, look in whatever she wanted to look in, turn on whatever she wanted to turn on. And she said, "I'm just going to say for the department, we're really proud of you. You're doing great." And I was so excited because this was December 21st and court was January 9th. And January 9th, I was supposed to be reunified with my baby.
Wow.
This was a Wednesday when she came. She said, "I'll
Mhm.
call you tomorrow with the schedule." Thursday came. I heard nothing. Friday, I was supposed to get Everly in at about before Christmas. So you don't get another chance at this until probably Tuesday, maybe, to talk to anyone. At 4:40 on Friday, she texted me and said, "Oh, by the way, You're not getting Everly. There's a second result on your test that you submitted 11 days prior that was negative. It's now positive, and you're not getting Everly, and we're taking away visitation and everything that you've been working for that you thought was going to happen. When she stood in my home, I said, ma'am, please tell me I can believe in this and this is real. This is really happening, and there's not going to be any more little, small, big, giant hiccups that's going to pop up for any reason and for me not to get my child. And she said, absolutely not. And then Friday came and she told me that in a text message. I couldn't even talk to anyone. I was pretty
Yes.
pretty upset, livid, more like it livid. It was a holiday spent alone crying for days. And then when Tuesday came, I was there at the CPS office at about 7:50 in the morning, and I waited for them to unlock the door, which wasn't until 8:15. And I went in there and I said, I want to speak to her. Can I please see her? She would not come and talk to me. She would not come face to face. So I texted her and I said, ma'am, just tell me why this is happening. And she would never say anything. She still really is not clear with me. And I've had court dates come up the next day that no one told me was going to pop up, thinking I
Mm,
wouldn't be there. And when I
mhm.
walked in that courtroom, let me tell you, everybody's eyes, and it was by the grace of God that I found out that I got the little bit of information that wasn't supposed to be leaked out, that
I
I
was
was
gonna
there.
they didn't expect for you to be there because they never told you about it.
And they didn't want me to be there because then they have the legal right to terminate my rights. And
Oh my God.
God, like I said, came through, and just
Oh,
so
gee.
happens somebody, and I said, and I looked online, and sure enough, oh, I got chills right now because that was God. If it wasn't for God at that moment, I wouldn't have known, and she wouldn't be even an option to try to save right now without an appeal. But she is, because God is good, and you should have seen their faces in that courtroom.
I bet they
They
thought
were,
they saw a ghost, didn't they?
yes, I said, how does she know? Why is she here? What are we going to do now? They had to switch up their whole game plan.
Ooh, Jesus.
And I'm
I'm s
grateful that I got
God,
that. And it's
wow.
not over yet, and they keep trying to force me. Trying to force me to just give up and give in and give them my baby so they can sell her. Well,
The
it's
devil
not
is
happening. The
there.
devil's a lie.
I promise you he is. He is a
Mhm.
old-faced lie, and I'm telling you, if y'all seen how beautiful baby Everly Rose is, I mean, it just I'm serious.
Mhm.
This should be the next Gerber baby, if you ask me.
Yes, she could, and I'm not trying to be biased, but since she was born, the doctor first thing the doctor said is, "She is so pretty." I said, "Oh, she is so pretty." She is. She's a
Yes.
really special little sweet, sweet angel.
That's the description I would say. Definitely, she give you a baby angel, and
Mhm.
like I say, we know for a fact, Lindsay, God will give some of His strongest fights to His toughest soldiers, and a lot of times the ones who's trying to live right, trying to do right, and like I say, nobody's perfect but Jesus. But I just seem to me that the parents that are going through CPS, that are really doing the work, that's showing up, they're fighting for their children, for some reason, if they don't have caseworkers that has integrity, it seems like their fight is extended. All of a
I
sudden,
must say, I want to say this, please. I'm sorry to interrupt.
please
I have
do.
completed services 3 times.
Wow.
I've been done since December. They sent me to an intensive outpatient rehabilitation. I went. I'll do
Wow.
whatever you want me to do. And everyone I talked to, this is so hard. We can't do this. It's 90 days. I went. I got what I could out of it. I gave what I could to it, and they released me early. They said they had never done that, but they felt like I needed to be done by the time, it came around for the inspection, so that when January 9th came around, I was complete so I could get Everly. They said, we feel like you've gotten all you can get from our program. We appreciate you coming. Please come back as a speaker sometime, which I would be grateful to do. And they let
Yes.
me go early. And then they rang a bell and had a big celebration. And it was the first time thing. And so when they took away, my visitation and all, and now I have 3 hours a week now supervised, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for those 3 hours. I said,
That's
what more do you want me to do? What can I do? And I've already taken the initiative, done the 12 steps. I'm doing them again. I go to meetings online, meetings in person. Whatever you
you're
want me
doing
to
the
do.
work. Yeah,
And
you're
they can't
right.
tell me anything except demonstrate sobriety. And I said, I do demonstrate sobriety. I don't understand why you're not seeing it or it's not showing, because I really don't understand how. And it does happen because I know I'm not testing positive, and it's showing I am sometimes, and that's the only thing they have against me.
Well, unfortunately, we have heard from other experts and specialists that sometimes those tests, they come back fake positive.
Or tampered with positive.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why I say fake positive. The test should come back clean, but someone have tampered the test, so therefore the readings are unclear.
And
I
when you
do
come back with a level of 172,810 on a drug that supposedly the lethal level is 90,000,
oh my
that's
God.
pretty great that I'm still walking around. You know, thank you. Thank you for letting me live through that one. I don't know what to say because it's really, and they use that and they use it and they get away with it. And it's just
Get
so
away with it.
disturbing.
And that's what's sad, sick and sad to me.
Mm,
Um, One of the specialists showed that if there is any type of indication, if I understood him correctly, that the test may be unclear or if it wasn't tested correctly or something might have came in to throw it off. They normally have to take CPS or testing centers are normally required to take an additional step
mhm.
just to make sure that they are getting the accurate test. And a lot of times that is not being done. They're just once that test come back being falsified or changed, they going off of that what is presented, and that's not always true.
And also, I've noticed that all the tests are read on a Sunday. So I feel like they're doing group, like I watched in the same video,
Hmm,
group testing of a whole bunch of samples, and they put like 50 to 100 in one thing and spin them around. You don't always know that that's coming out the same or that you labeled it right, and you read them on a Sunday. So I feel like maybe they go in there just to do the readings and sign off on them, and they're
wow,
just, you know, reading and signing off on everything the same thing. Yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no, and I
easily.
I don't know because I'm not there, but that could possibly show that maybe they're not doing the full.
Right.
I don't
But
know.
what is required? What actually no, what is supposed to be the correct procedure?
With
And
one sample at a time, not
correct.
a group of 50 or
A
100.
truck of samples at one time that can easily
Mhm.
be misconstrued. And
Or
it's
labeled wrong or
are labeled
anything.
wrong,
Yeah,
and
or not even looked at, just signed
I
off
need
on.
to
Just
check all that, and it is evidence showing that that happens. That
mhm,
occurs. It's evidence
often.
that justifies that it happens often. And
They
even
say
on
it takes a lot of money to do that single, very thorough test. It takes a lot of money, and per test, I have a stack of papers that I have submitted drug screen. This many, it's big.
wow. It is definitely some, I again, I have heard specialists, attorneys. There's documentation if you Google that there have been drug testing owners. They own labs where the drug tests are being performed at CPS utilized. They go through for their services where it was actually a owner that was admitted to tampering the test to
Not
make them
even sending them off, just putting in whatever she felt she to save her money, to keep
wanted
her
to keep
pockets lined.
it. Absolutely to
Mhm,
keep her money coming in on that wheel.
mhm.
She would just say whatever on the test, so she can stay compensated, and because of
Never
that,
thinking of what
all
turmoil she's causing, what child, what mother, what father, what grandparent out there is suffering because you did not care enough to do what you were supposed to do, what you're
right.
hired to do. That's sad.
That is absolutely correct, and because of it, thank God that they found out that she was abusing the system to gain
Yeah.
profit, but, a lot of children were taken lost to the system because of her lying on the test.
Oh, and
So,
do you know the suicide rate of mothers who have wrongfully lost their children is 86%? Do you know how
oh
many mothers that could have been that she caused not to be, not caused, but helped not to be here anymore because of the turmoil? I mean, the severe pain, and
God, yes, yes.
it,
It
I
is
can't even describe how it feels.
it's trauma like never before. It's ongoing trauma, you
Not
know?
just to you, but you feel that's happening to your child, that you feel is all your loved ones that love your baby that are
Mhm.
suffering without her, and it's a
Yeah,
giant vicious circle that
yeah, it is.
really
It's
should
a
stop.
domino effect. It affects everybody. Everybody is affected. Grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles,
Neighbors, friends, it's
neighbors, their friends. I never shared this before, but I had my son. It's a little girl. Never will forget. It wasn't too long ago, and the little girl will always be hungry at school. Always be hungry. So
mm,
much so where she would actually, you would pay extra on your son's or your children's account at school in the cafeteria for them to buy snacks, right? And I
mhm,
noticed my son's money was like leaving like within a day or two, what normally lasts.
mhm.
And I'm like, what are you buying in the cafeteria? How many little Debbie's can you eat? Like ice cream,
Yeah. Slow
right?
down.
Right. Like, what is going on? But he told me, he said, Mama, I have a
Mm.
friend that's hungry.
Ah,
And he said, I'd give her the money. I mean, I let her go through the lunch line and let her buy her snack that she
um,
likes to eat. And I never will forget, I had one day had to go up to the school and meet with I want to say his nurse or something had happened. But some kind of way the little girl was there. And he told me, he said, Mama, this is a little girl who um this is the little girl who likes the little cookies and cakes and whatnot.
the extra snacks.
Where the snack money is going. And when I saw the little girl, I later found out I could look at the little girl and tell that she was displaced. Didn't know the story, did not know the story, but I could look at her disposition, her demeanor,
Mhm.
and tell this was a little girl that was going through something. And to make the long story short, later on, since my son had been also through um, CPS, through the system, being misplaced himself, he
The
said, Mom,
trauma.
she's in CPS like I used to be. And my heart dropped.
Mm.
And I connected the dots. And he said, Mama, she be hungry at school because she says she don't eat at home. And so much so when, like I say, it lasted about a few weeks. The school cafeteria manager called me and someone had reached out to me and said, we noticed that he's buying food for other people. If you want us to, put a hold on this account, absolutely not.
I will keep funding it.
I will fund it until God
Mhm.
cuts off my funding where I can't fund nothing else. Because
Absolutely.
this little girl, something that she can't get at home, and
That
I
she
and I
should be
know
able to.
small. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But she is that was a little girl with a trash bag
Yeah.
who had a mom that wanted her.
Yes.
The system would not allow her to be with her mom for whatever
Right.
reason. But I do remember I started placing more money on my son's account
I
to
know you
make
did.
oh God, yes, I did. To make sure that that baby had something to snack on, whatever gave her a piece of joy for a brief moment of so much confusion and so much uncertainty and being in an unpredictable environment like CPS. I
Mhm.
will do whatever it takes to give her that ray of sunshine and however it looked like.
And
And
this is why you and your son had to go through what you had
um,
to go through, so you could be that for that little girl. Just one example. I'm
yes.
another example. I would love to see your son one day just to see how beautiful he is.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I just wanna tell you this, Lindsay, because I know you're also a believer like I am. I've had pastors say he's gonna be a preacher one day. He's
Oh,
gonna be a preacher one day, and I had CPS to literally tell me, "Go on with your life. Don't fight for him.
oh
Do
yeah.
not fight for this child." Matter of fact, they placed him in a facility because they said he was demon possessed, and
That's
isn't
the
it
devil.
ironic? Thank you. Isn't it ironic that what the devil said that he needs to be placed in a demon possessed facility, that God told me, no, this is the child that I've given you. And now they see him as a preacher. He loves
Yeah.
helping people. He didn't want to tell me, Mama, go back and do the show again. I took a little break, but he said, Mama, go back. Because I know there are kids that are in that system that they are wanting to see their mama again.
Thank you for coming back. Thank you, sweet child of yours, for helping you to come back.
Yes, I mean it. God
I know.
speaks have the babes.
Yes, he
He does.
does. He does. And they are so wonderful.
They
I love those.
They are. And I like, and we're getting, oh my God, we're actually at
Yeah.
the end of the segment. Oh my God, time gets away when you're into this kind of session, this kind of opportunity to speak to someone, to a mother, Lindsay McPherson, who has a beautiful family, who has been temporarily separated from her beautiful daughter. But I would love, Lindsay, if you would please allow us the opportunity to bring you back once your child, once, oh my God, baby
Yes,
Rose is returned back home, and you can
yes.
come on testimony to other families, to other parents, caregivers, to tell them what it was like when you was going through the system and what it's like when God has brought you out of the system. So I
I
am
sure will.
great because iron sharpens irons, and we need this kind of love and support for each other during such a
Yeah.
time as this, okay? So, like I say, I time have gotten away from. I don't
Yeah.
think I've never got to this point where it's literally at the end of the show and I had so many other things to say. But did you um want to say anything before we get ready and wrap it up today?
Don't give up, mamas. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're strong, and you can do it. And you're gonna be on the other side one day too.
Yeah. You are going to also be on the other side one day too. And
Yeah.
with that being said, I just want to ask you this one last question, Lindsay. What is it that you plan on doing when beautiful baby Everly Rose, when you are reunified back together again at home, what is the first thing that you're going to do?
I'm gonna have her and her sister, and we're just gonna enjoy each other, just learn each other. I just wanna watch her. I wanna just watch and learn her.
Lay some eyes on
What
her.
makes her tick, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Lindsay, for being on this show today. You have no idea that I do believe this is going to heal a lot of hearts that are feeling confused, sad, isolated. Even, you're going to encourage so many people that is going through this. I thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm thankful for Attorney Vince for allowing this platform to come available to be able to encourage parents to bring legal advice. Please contact Attorney Vince if you do need a wise legal counsel to help bring your children back home where they belong. Please call the number at the bottom of the screen. Please sign up for a consultation so Attorney Vince can get started on the process of reunifying you back together again with your family. Okay, so again, Lindsay, you will be back to bring back
Okay,
that
I
testimony.
will. I will
Okay, to
see you
testimony.
back here.
Okay. So
Okay.
again, we will be in touch with you, Lindsay. You have a blessed day, and we
You
will be
too. You too.
okay.
All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
everybody. Thank you, Lindsay. So everybody, thank you so much. And I am hoping and praying that you have learned something from this show today. I hope it has touched your hearts to hear real, true stories that these parents are going through the trenches, fighting for their kids. They're doing all the work. They still haven't given up. They still have even more love in their hearts for their children until they're back home where they belong. So don't never give up fighting for your children. Always keep God first. Do not put a period where there should be a comma. Why? Because God is not done writing your story. So stay encouraged, keep God first, keep fighting for your babies until the next show. Have a blessed weekend.